So that's a good pick. You get the corner.
Man, I'm confident in our offense, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's got
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron, and make sure to like and subscribe out there. It is National Mental Illness Month. We are donating a portion out to the National Association for Mental Illness. And make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And when we get to 2,000 subscribers, we will donate an additional $100 out to them as well and support mental illness. But PayPal, we've had a fun day today. We just went golfing. I already know how you are. I'm exhausted from golfing. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. We only did 9 rounds, but or not 9 rounds, 9 holes. Oh yeah, that would be exhausting. Yeah, 9. Yeah. We played like 100 something holes. But no, we just played 9 holes, and yeah, it was sad. It was the old guys. You and our dad versus me, and our other brother, and you guys somehow won. I mean, even though I like to pride myself, I golf not frequently, but I watch golf. I play. I've been playing at least probably once a week, and you guys took the crown.
Yeah, and exactly. I don't golf, and I was really good for 4 rounds, and then was crap after those holes. Like, I went back to my normal crappy self. So talk about regressing to the mean. Yeah, and also too, yeah, Renewable saying I got burnt. I got toasted. I said in my little bald spots, I'm getting old now because I forgot to apply sunscreen right up here. It's tough when you get old, and yeah, I am red on the top of my dome.
Those spots are not normally showing in the sun, so they're probably like, what the heck is this stuff? What's the sun beaming down,
Even seeing the new intro, it was like, oh yeah, I just got a haircut. So
yeah, the haircut,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, man, I am toasty, but it adds a little bit of extra stuff. But we got a great show today. Bam Bam Sam is out there in the comments as well. And I'm excited to go through this stuff because we're going to be breaking down rookie minicamp first, and then we're going to be breaking down free agents for next year. And should we give people extensions right now? That's going to be the big question that we're going to be asking. But really, we got to talk about rookie minicamp. Rookie minicamp just wrapped up. We had, I believe it was like 62 people. It was insane. So many people were at rookie minicamp. And overall, lots of good reports out there. PayPal, what kind of stuck out to you about rookie minicamp?
Yeah. First one, I really, just a big takeaway was Roschon Johnson. I mean, and the weird thing was, it wasn't from our offensive coordinator. It wasn't from, defensive coordinator. It wasn't from our head coach. It was from our special teams coach that just absolutely raved about Roschon Johnson and was just talking about how, from a special teams perspective, he got a bunch of texts from other coaches out there being like, hey, you guys got to steal getting that guy. You took our guy, basically. Like, we wanted him. And man, he was just raving about how he's got accountability. He had they had like an interview. He stayed extra long, was asking questions, and then something that stuck out to him is as he was leaving the meeting, Roschon Johnson, he noticed that there were some water bottles, and he took the water bottles and threw them away. Like, he just wants everyone to be held accountable. He wants everyone, everything kind of, set straight, everything that's kind of ordered and all that. So I think the way that they were talking about him, I didn't really hear anything about like his flashing in the mini camp. There's reasons for that, I think, but it was just his physicality in the special teams that really kind of was showing the special teams coach like, wow, like we got something.
I was hearing that like he was turning some heads though, just overall, just with his ability to do everything. And it kind of goes to that special teams. Yeah. He knows how to block. He knows how to do all these extra pieces. And two, we had this in our scouting report. He was a Red Star Award winner, which is like a what they flag someone as in a good way, what they award someone at the Senior Bowl for just being a good person, like being an above and
Yeah.
beyond good person. So someone you got to root for, but also the interesting part about the running backs coach said when asked, or it was either the running backs coach or Luke Getsy, when asked about the running back competition, said, we are giving the first handoff to Khalil Herbert. And then after that, it's a competition. So it is up in the air. I want to see what Khalil Herbert can do, but I want to see Roschon Johnson out there just as a fan of Roschon, as a fan of the Longhorns. I really want to see him out there. But everyone in the comments too, who do you want to see win this running back battle that the offense has now declared is going to happen?
Yeah, it'd be weird having we kind of had a taste of it last year, Khalil Herbert starting, and like I liked it. But yeah, it's kind of who's gonna come out the gates and who's gonna like set the tone, I guess. And I wouldn't be surprised if Roschon Johnson, like, if they believe that guy will kind of set the energy, almost like you kind of almost want to start off with the physical running back and then hit them with the explosive Khalil Herbert. And that's another thing. Roschon Johnson, I think he hasn't hit his impressive level yet because he was talking about he hates not being in pads. He hates not, using his body as a weapon. And I was with our dad talking about it, and he's like, when I hear using his body as a weapon, I think of Walter Payton. That was the first thing he thought of. And I completely agree of just stiff arming people, just absolutely bulldozing guys at the running back position.
And I think about it too. We haven't even talked about Deonta Foreman. And that's another person that would be in this mix. But it's going to be a very interesting running back room. It's going to be a lot of power, a lot of hard hitting. It's going to be good stuff. But also just some more news out of rookie minicamp. And here we thought it was just going to be a couple minutes. Rookie minicamp had a lot of different headlines. One that sticks out to me, one small one real quick, is just Darnell Wright with his weight. It sounds like they're going to have him lose some weight, shed some pounds. Makes sense, right? He's 333 pounds. The Bears, with all their offensive tackles, they wanted Tevin Jenkins lighter. They wanted Larry Borum lighter. They wanted everyone lighter. And with Darnell Wright, no exception. They want him to slim down a little bit more. But another player, Tyrique Stevenson, as reported by Josh Chirac from NBC Sports Chicago, said that day one, Stevenson was on Scott and locked him down. Just a complete knockout. They said he could not get past him. That's good to know about these outside corners. And we'll be talking about outside corners. That's great to hear out there.
Yeah, and that honestly that's something I learned this week there's a lot of connections that we've got. First off, we got a lot of Senior Bowl guys that was, coached by our OC, but as well as Tyler Scott and Tyrique Stevenson, like, have known each other. They had a connection, and they would actually practice quite a bit. So maybe that is why Stevenson was able to lock him down. Just because I know, as being brothers, like I know if I ever play against someone else in basketball or something, I know their tricks. I know if you play with someone for a long time. But another person that kind of stood out to me, and it was honestly all the defensive backs. Like, it sounded like Terrell Smith. He had a really great interception against, he said number 2, which we all know who that is, DJ Moore. And it was kind of a jump ball. So getting up there, really showing his height at 6'1", getting up there. I think DJ Moore he's around the same height, but also Kendall Williamson had an interception with the help of Noah Sewell. So it was kind of that cool little 5th round, 7th rounder, the day 3 guys kind of working together to make a play.
Yeah. And the only other thing too that I have is just one of my takeaways. Doug Kramer, not out there, the center from Illinois, 6th round pick last year. And I would be surprised if he makes the roster, right? And that might be a bold statement, but I just want to see him out there, right? He did not look good when he was during preseason. We'll see how he can recover from the knee injury. It stinks if he can't because he was like a 5-year starter or something crazy at Illinois, but just was always undersized. Also, Renewable saying Crookshank from Wisconsin. I'm calling he beats out Pettis. Okay, put it on
Oh
the
wow.
board. Let's keep an eye on Crookshank from Wisconsin. And Renewable brought this up too. Bears signed some more people from the rookie minicamp. That's edge DeAnthony Jones, tight end Steven Carlson, offensive lineman Josh Lugg, and defensive back Braylon Trahan.
Hey,
So
yeah,
yep,
another quick before for transition
we
or
got
something.
more.
But oh yeah, I got more. I just want a quick thing, and it's the same. It's one of those connections too. I just never learned till now was German Dexter and Zach Pickens. They had a connection too. They met in the airport one
Yeah,
time when they were going around scouting, getting interviews with NFL teams, and it's you just love their attitude towards, especially Zach Pickens. He's very entertaining. I just love entertaining, especially defensive linemen. They always have the best interviews. I don't know what it is. It must be some personality thing. I don't know, but Zach Pickens is a great interviewer, and he was just he had a great attitude of, it's like him and Dexter are just gonna try and be the next defensive interior duo for the Bears, which I absolutely love their ambitions for that, because I would love to see them, like, two athletic freaks, do it.
I love that. I still, yeah, we'll see what Javon can do. I also heard two people saying, what type of players that the Bears want to get in these rookie mini camps. They're big, they're physical, and you saw it on display at Hallis Hall. But let's actually break down what we were mainly going to talk about, which is the free agents that are coming up next year and who could be getting a contract extension. So if we're looking at the free agents for next year, right? Let's now switch into free agent mode. The people that have expiring contracts that will be unrestricted are Lucas Patrick, Peterman, Deonta Foreman, Robert Tonyan, Cole Kmet, Chase Claypool, Dante Pettis, Equanimous St. Brown, and Darnell Mooney. So if we're talking about who would get an extension, I think we really need to look at the players that, didn't just sign a 1-year deal and talk about the people like a Claypool, a Darnell Mooney. I think from this offense, Mooney and Kmet are the ones that stand out. So let's talk about Darnell Mooney. So PayPal, Darnell Mooney is projected, according to SpotRack, he is projected to get around $14.9 million average salary when you start looking at other comps like a Corey Davis, a Hunter Renfrow, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson even. At around 15, I've also heard too Brad Spielberger from PFF say maybe he's going to get 17 or 18 because of how the wide receiver market is starting to go up. PayPal, what are your thoughts about this? Would you kind of wait on re-signing Darnell Mooney, or would you rather just want to get the deal done right now?
It's interesting with Mooney. I mean, he's the only Chicago Bears jersey I have. He's the first one I got, and you think he would especially been a franchise player, a year or so ago, of like, we need to keep him. And it's just hard now that it's like you got this DJ Moore, you got Chase Claypool, where he kind of has that unknown of, is he going to be that wide receiver too? And then you got Mooney, who we just got a very similar receiver in him with Tyler Scott. So it's like, do the Bears feel unsure about him? And I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, of we're going to wait to re-sign him. Like, he just came off an injury. We really he didn't really break out, which we thought he would have last year, because we were just hearing, oh my gosh, him and Justin Fields are practicing so much. We're going to see this amazing threat between those two, like, see all these deep ball plays. But yeah, so it's like now they kind of got his replacement, so to speak. So is he gonna kind of, improve his game and kind of show that it's his spot to take at that slot position? We'll see. And so I think they're going to have to wait for Darnell Mooney and not re-sign him.
Okay.
Just yet.
Yeah. I kind of go on the opposite way, because I think about what Renewable said about Mooney's ankle, right? And I think if you can get it at around 15 and that his ankle's fine, I like the idea, right?
Hmm.
I like the way as him being a number two, right? I think that's what he really kind of showed last year was he's not a number one, he's a number two. And if he plays that number two, then I feel good about that 15. And also he is a good person to have in the locker room. He's someone that Justin Fields really likes. I think he's a good player. And I think at that price, it really isn't that bad. Especially
Yeah,
because wide receivers are going for so much. So
true.
that's where I don't mind getting that done. I also like him as a player. I've always liked him as a player, and that's where I kind of am playing favorites a little bit. That's my only piece is with that. I would honestly try and get it done now, and I think it also what I like about it too is if you get it for like 3 years, right? 3 years, 45 million total. I like that because maybe you now know DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney are going to be your wide receivers of the future, and you can always build around that. You talked about it in the slot. You can still get another really good wide receiver, and now Darnell Mooney shifts to 3, and you don't necessarily hate that, right? You can still
Hmm.
draft Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. So
Yeah, that's a really great point where, yeah, maybe it's just a really good idea to re-sign a lot of these guys on the offense, especially, we'll talk about Cole Kmet and Chase Claypool, just to have that consistency around Justin Fields. I think that'd be a good reason to re-sign him.
So let's go to the next offensive threat, right? Actually, before we do that, this brings up the other question. What do you do with Chase Claypool? I feel like we're both you gotta wait and see, right? His agent will not allow him to re-sign after a down year like that. But
Hmm.
we'll see what he does, right? Because we're not going to re-sign him right now, but that's going to be a very interesting story to see how does he develop and what does he turn into this year.
Yeah, and he's only 25 or so like he's a young player still. So I mean, it would be awesome to kind of have that young receiver, not the youngest receiver core, but I mean, I forgot how old DJ Moore is. Is it around like 28,
26, I think.
29 or so? 26. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, 26, 25, and Darnell Mooney's turning 26 or is 26. So like that would be kind of a nice, mature, young slash mature, kind of in their prime for wide receiver core.
Yeah, for sure. So let's move over to the tight end and the tight end, Cole Kmet. He's just turned 24, which I was like, what? 64 days ago, turned 24. A lot younger than I expected, but Cole Kmet is projected to get $11.3 million if he were to hit the open market. PayPal, how you feeling about Cole Kmet at that number? Would you wait? Because he kind of like came on towards the end of the season. Are you feeling let's wait it out or no,
Uh,
let's get the Chicago boy his money?
Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm giving the Chicago boy his money. I
Okay.
mean, he's been embracing kind of, first of all, just being a Chicago boy. He deals amazing with the media, like just from his like character wise. I'm thinking like amazing guy, like all that. He checks all those boxes. But man, like he's really progressed, and I think the coaching staff really see that and really think we can build off of him and his connection with Justin Fields now into the future. I think I personally think he earned it. Um, and I don't know, like I think they're kind of banking on like they didn't draft a tight end. I think if they were banking on not re-signing him, they would have drafted a guy. But they didn't. So I think even the move with Robert Tanyan actually kind of shows that they want Cole Kmet even more because Getsy was talking about like Tanyan will help teach Cole Kmet the offense even better and kind of teach what he's learned to Kmet and kind of show how the Getsy offense works.
Yeah, and I kind of sit on I'm kind of throwing my hands up in the air a little bit where to me I'm waiting for the coaching staff, right? That's my piece is from a coaching staff perspective, what do you see in Cole Kmet? Because we see the games and it seems like he's getting better and better and better. It seems like he's getting it and getting it, but there's still like, is he right? And they should know that during practice. Is he truly getting it? Is he truly understanding it? Because if he is, I'd sign him up, because one of the biggest risks that you do get with waiting is that they could break out. Laz kind of talked about that in one of his comments, where it's like if somebody breaks out, now you're spending a lot of money. But the beauty of tight ends is that they are fairly cheap. And the only thing that kind of, if he is the guy and he looks to be the guy in practice, pay the man. But if he doesn't, if you have uncertainty, I actually go more towards the wait, and we'll see. He is a Chicago boy, and I hate, taking advantage of him. If I was on the Bears and if I was playing tight end for the Bears, I would take less money to play for my favorite team. Like 100%. Like, if you're already making millions of dollars, if someone is offering you 12 million and 13 million, I'll take 11 to play for the Bears. Like, just because I want to be that for my favorite team, right?
Hey, TJ Edwards did it, so
yeah, exactly. He's a true fan, fan. But yeah, so let's go over to the defense then. So Cole Kmet, we'll see what ends up happening. I think ultimately on this offensive side of the ball, I do feel confident that Cole Kmet or Darnell Mooney gets done sometime this offseason. We have a lot of capital, a lot of cap space. We do need to spend some money and cash. I do believe one of these extensions should get done, Kmet or Darnell Mooney. So let's go over to this defensive side of the ball. And PayPal, this gets me excited because we don't have a lot of people hitting the open market besides the main core three people that we are going to be talking about. So let's go over to the defensive side and our defensive free agents. So number one, Jaylon Johnson, Michael Ojemudia, Kendall Vildor, Rasheem Green, Andrew Brown, Travis Gibson, Justin Jones, and Andrew Billings. So a lot of one-year people, and Justin Jones, kind of a two-year person. But Justin Jones is, I can't see him getting one. And Travis Gibson, it doesn't make sense because he's coming off of a bad year. You only want to, if you're an agent, you only want to re-sign when you're coming off of a good year. But Jaylon Johnson, PayPal, how do you feel about Jaylon Johnson? About like it, Spot Rack has him projected at getting 7.7 million, which I thought was insanely low. Like, I don't think that's feasible. Like, to me, it feels like it would be over 10, but they kind of comp him to like what Emmanuel Mosley did and Teron Johnson. I think he gets more of like what Charvarius Ward gets, where it's like around 13. That's my prediction. That's what kind of feels right. But PayPal, 8 million to 13 plus. What are you feeling about Jaylon Johnson? Are you re-signing him or not?
I did not know he was 24. Well, he's like about to be 25. But man, it sounds like you're so young when you're 24 compared to 25.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And honestly, that I was kind of thinking the other way of like, man, he really hasn't done like too much for his team. As like, I don't want to say that in like he totally has. Like I remember games of like he'd be against Devontae Adams and like he would play really well against Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams would say how he was underrated, which I would completely agree. But then he had that injury, and that's what it kind of worries me. It seemed like after that injury, he was kind of not the same. He did seem like he was getting better after weeks to come. Like I don't know if it was just he had to play a little differently or what. It seemed like it was kind of lingering him last year. But Brad, at 7.7 million, I would sign him in a heartbeat, to be honest. Like for 3 years, I think that would be a steal to get a guy like this. If you're talking a little bit more money, like above that 10 million, that 12 million, I still might even sign him still. Like he's a good player. I think it kind of comes down to what they see in the free agent market next year, or if they have any guys to look at as to, in the draft next year. But honestly, I'm kind of surprised myself. Before we were talking about it, and I was kind of on the whole end of not re-signing him because he really hasn't been that exciting guy. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of been positive and like, oh yeah, sign Cole Kmet. Yeah, we'll sign these guys. We got the money, but
I think you're a sucker for, like, you just saw that he's 24 years old and you're like, man,
yeah,
he's young, he's got potential. I can't see a deal getting done. And it's his injuries. It's his, like Renewable was saying, his lack of turnovers. Like, I think he only has one interception in his career. And I think just overall, I think that's why they projected him at 7.7, why that seems so low. Us as Bears fans know how good he is. And that's why I think it's kind of like with Akeem Hicks when Akeem Hicks left the Bears, right? He wanted to get paid. The Bears weren't going to pay him, so he had to go somewhere else to kind of get paid. And even though it was probably around what the Bears were offering him, he was like already kind of burned by that and like, screw you guys, I'm going to another team. I could see the Bears, quote unquote, lowballing him, aka giving him kind of fair market value, and the agents saying no. And there has been, I believe, Courtney Cronin from ESPN talked about this, saying that Jaylon Johnson, like, there's been some talks, and her vibe, she was saying on the Carmen and Yurko show that her vibe was like, it felt like Ryan Poles got these corners as kind of like Jaylon Johnson replacements, essentially. So to me, I could see Jaylon Johnson not being the guy in the future, and the Bears essentially looking to move on from him, or what Renewable was saying in the comments. Maybe he's a trade piece. Maybe he's someone that you look at, someone who's contending, and you say, do you want Jaylon Johnson, this starting caliber corner? And who knows? Maybe the corner out of Minnesota that we signed and Stevenson hit. That would be insane and dumb luck, but amazing luck. But still, unless it is dirt cheap, I can't realistically see the Bears actually signing Jaylon Johnson. I don't know why. I just can't see it.
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I think the hard thing for me is like seeing the team like without him, just like right now. Like, say if we just didn't have him, like I would be scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like the team next year of, would we be able to, get kind of a good replacement? Yeah, would Terrell Smith actually play out and kind of take that spot and be ready to do that? That's where it's kind of unknown. But yeah, the turnovers, he's a great player, like pretty locked down. But yeah, it's just he doesn't do his principles of creating plays and difference makers in the game.
We also have a bold take. I need like a bold take alarm. We got Dobbsy saying he's calling it now. He's saying he's going to pull a Roquan and hold out.
Oh, wow.
That would be interesting. I could see that. Like,
yeah,
that's a good take. It's a bold take. It's a fiery take, but it is a take nonetheless. And last saying might even get traded in camp. Yeah, like we'll have to see what they end up doing, but I think it's type of that ego, right? Especially when you're a cornerback. Would you lock down Devontae Adams like he did? You got to have some ego at the cornerback position. And it's hard, too, to be like, okay, yeah, my shoulder's bad and I get banged up all the time, but I ball out when I'm on the field. But still, it's not like he does well, but he's not Jalen Ramsey out there.
You don't see him making plays, And
it stinks because he is underrated, but he's not like insane. And that's what's super hard about this. And two, it does seem like this cult system that the Bears have inherited. They have their type of players that they want. And so I could see Jaylon Johnson being another Ryan Pace casualty that Ryan Poles ends up moving on from. But PayPal, that's about it. We broke down rookie minicamp. Man, that should have been its own episode. I might have to like split this up and say, here's the rookie minicamp episode. and here is the contract extensions. I hope you enjoyed it. Like we said, ultimately, it sounds like the offense, Mooney or Kmet, might be the ones that end up landing that extension. Let me know down in the comments on YouTube. Who do you think is actually going to get an extension? Is it going to be one of the guys that we mainly talked about, or are none of them going to be getting that? But as we always say, like, subscribe, and also rate 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcasts. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and you